Douglas Murray made a very good point. He said that at least the Nazis tried to cover up their crimes, not only just from the outside world, but also from German public. Because they were worried that what if the German public found out what the Nazis were doing to their fellow Germans, they might revolt against Nazi rule. So that means they were worried that German people, even under the iron fist of the Nazi rule, had enough conscience that they would revolt. That means the Nazi Germans held the German public to a higher standard. Hold on to that thought, and I'm going to raise another point. But before we go further, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And this video is likely to get demonetized, so please support this channel so I can keep making videos like these by going to patreon.com/Harris Sultan, or you can buy me a coffee. Links below. Let's get to today's video. This war could end tomorrow if Hamas unconditionally surrenders and releases all the hostages brutally captured in the October 7 attacks. However, instead of seeing the Muslim diaspora and the blue-haired Wokistanis exert pressure on Hamas to do these things, they're demanding Israel to let go of 1,200 civilians that Hamas brutally killed on October 7 attacks. They're just saying, it's okay. Since you are a colonial ethno-state, so what if Hamas killed 1,200 of your civilians? Just suck it up. It's okay. You know what that means? It effectively means that we expect the Israeli government to value Palestinian lives more than Hamas values Palestinian lives. And this is not just Hamas. This is every Muslim propagandist, every Muslim protester, and also those blue-haired Wokistanis. All of them. They value Palestinian lives less. They value Hamas's political objective more. So it's not about Palestinian lives. It's about their political objective. The blue-haired Wokistanis are obviously useful idiots. They probably don't understand all of this. But everyone else, they know what they're doing. You know, towards the end of the Second World War, Japan, Imperial Japan, was not willing to surrender. So America knew that they are going to win the war, but they would have to take heavy casualties. So they came up with an ingenious idea that, okay, we will drop atomic bombs on Japan, and that would force even Imperial Japan to surrender. So the United States dropped the first atomic bomb on Hiroshima, killing 70,000 civilians. You know what Imperial Japan said? They said, no, we're not going to surrender. So America said, like Captain America says, I can do this all day.
I can do this all day.
And they dropped another atomic bomb, this time on Nagasaki, killing further 40,000 people. In 1945, Japan's population was 71 million people. That means, according to the conservative end of the estimate, 0.15% of the Japanese population perished. And according to more generous estimates, 220,000 people died, which makes it 0.3% of the Japanese population. So the question was, how many Japanese people was Imperial Japan willing to sacrifice? It was definitely more than 70,000 people. But as it turns out, they were not willing to sacrifice more than 110,000 Japanese people. Meaning their threshold was somewhere between 0.15% to 0.3%. They realized that, okay, we cannot win this war. Therefore, we are not going to sacrifice our people anymore. Now come back to Israel-Hamas conflict. According to Hamas's own figures, 23,000 people have died. And if we assume that not a single person out of these 23,000 people was a Hamas soldier, the IDF suggests that at least 7,000 people out of these 23,000 are Hamas's fighters. But let's just assume not a single one was a Hamas soldier. And out of 23,000, half of them are children. That means that Hamas has already sacrificed 1% of Gaza population. And it's not only just Hamas. It's the blue-haired Wokistanis as well. It's the Muslim diaspora as well. They're not slowing down. They're saying, no, no, no. We have sacrificed 1% of Gazan population and we are willing to sacrifice even more. Hamas, don't slow down. They're not pressuring Hamas to surrender. We cannot win this war. Please stop. They're not saying that. Instead, they are pressuring Israel. They're saying, okay, well, Israel, you've already killed 1% of our people. How many more are you going to kill? 2%, 3%? We're willing to sacrifice all of them. If Imperial Japan thought like these blue-haired Wokistanis and Muslim diaspora and Hamas, they would have been like, that's nothing. That's only 0.3% of our population. It's only 220,000 people. We've got 71 million people. Come on, America. You're going to run out of atomic bombs, and we're not going to run out of people. But no, that's the point. Even Imperial Japan valued their people more than Hamas, than these Muslim propagandists, And worst of all, these blue-haired Wokistanis. That's exactly what they're saying. And you know why they're saying that? They're saying that because it's a death cult. Muslims proudly and boastfully say we love death more than we love life itself. We love death more than you love life.
We believe that life begins at death. We don't care about death. We love death.
الحياة غالية بس احنا لا نعم الصفر. تسمعش عشان هيك بتلقى استشهاديين.
سألتك بنتك محمد بعد كل طيبك تعطيني تستشهد؟
طبعا.
والله؟ عليش؟
إذا كان من القدس عادي.
Muslims are boastfully talking about that. And that says a lot. Douglas Murray said that Hamas is worse than the Nazis. I'm saying Hamas is not just worse than the Nazis, they're also worse than Imperial Japan. And that is no small claim. How evil was Imperial Japan? Just ask the Chinese. Just look up the Nanking Massacre. These guys were brutal. And generally, we think that as time progresses, our brutality goes down. And if I'm to say that Hamas, and not only just Hamas, I have to include these blue-haired Wokistanis and the Muslim diaspora as well. These guys are worse than Imperial Japan and the Nazis because the Nazis tried to hide their crimes. But Hamas did it with glee. They boastfully showed it to the world. They not only just filmed these atrocities to boost the morale of Hamas fighters, but also they sent it to the whole Muslim world. They said, look what we're doing. And unlike the Nazis, they were not afraid that Muslims will revolt against them. Muslims will criticize Hamas. No, they were confident that the Muslims will support them even more. And lo and behold, that's what they did. They supported them. They supported Hamas even more. If the Muslim diaspora, Muslim propagandists and these blue-haired Wokistanis, if they had pressured Hamas with the same intensity they have pressured Israel, then this war would have been over by now. And a lot more Palestinian people, including Palestinian children, would be alive. But no, as I said, they are willing to sacrifice Palestinian children. They're using Palestinian people and Palestinian casualties as pawns for their political objective. This video just came out recently. Have you seen the fence that Egyptians have built on their border with Gaza? It's huge. It's very intimidating. I think it's probably bigger than the wall that Trump built. They're saying, no. We will keep making noise. We will keep pressuring Israel from outside. But you, my fellow dear Muslims, you stay there because we cannot let Jerusalem fall into the hands of these pesky Jews. Muslims can't tolerate that. Out of the last 1400 years, nearly for 1300 years, Jerusalem has remained in Muslim control, where Jews lived as second-class citizens, as dhimmis, where they had to pay jizya. And Muslims love to lie that, hey, under our rule, Jews were happy. No, they weren't happy. Yes, they tolerated because they didn't have any power. They just said, okay, well, we'll live under you because we want to live in our holiest, most site. Would Muslims be okay to give Kaaba in the control of non-Muslims? Would they be okay with that? Would they be okay to live as second-class citizens in Mecca themselves? That's what Jews have been doing for the last 2,000 years. First under the Romans, then under the Christians, and for the last 1,300 years out of 1,400 years under the Muslims. That's what Muslims want. But Jews are saying, no, you can have Gaza, you can have the West Bank, but we're not going to give you our state of Israel. And you can't blame them. I can't blame them. I'm an atheist. I don't recognize religious claims, but the world isn't run by my rules or by my understanding. If Pakistanis can have a Muslim country, then so can Israelis have a Jewish country. If Muslims can have a right to the holiest most site, i.e. Mecca, then so can the Jews. So this is not a stretch. Hamas is worse than the Nazis and also Imperial Japan. And it's not just Hamas. Every single protester, be it Muslim propagandists or the blue-haired Wokistanis, who are pressuring Israel for a ceasefire and not pressuring Hamas to surrender and release the hostages. Every single one of them is responsible for every Palestinian that dies, including Palestinian children. They have Palestinian blood in their hands, including Palestinian children. Hope you learned something from this video. I hope that you might be able to see it from another perspective. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And leave a comment below. Let me know if you agree with that. Let me know if there are any holes in this argument. Until next time, ta-da. If you'd like to support my work, you can become my patron by going to patreon.com/Harus Sultan, or you can simply buy me a coffee.